So you're welcome back. Well, it's likely that our top 5 cultural practices may not be the same as yours, but that's the beauty of this show. Our first guests will be with us, and before then, Helen, what's on your mind?
We are winding down on this culture series, and the first 1 or 2 weeks we touched on some of the a few of the practices that are not so, I don't know what word to use, that I won't be, I won't be annoying 1 or 2 people there. Yeah. And I think we may not exhaust all of them because we say 5, yes, and there are loads of them.
There are loads of them,
yeah.
Yes.
So there are some ones that are peculiar to us as Nigerians.
Yes. Like what? Receiving and taking things with your left hand.
And like the Owambe show.
The Owambe show, the parties, the peculiar parties.
Yes.
Yes.
Like
and,
the Omugo.
Omugo, yes, Omugo. This Omugo thing, when did it really start? Because I never knew it growing up.
It is. In fact, it's so popular now.
Yes, it
with
is.
Our brothers and sisters who are in the diaspora.
Okay.
Yeah, because and the men are complaining that most of the time it's the mothers who enjoy the Omugo.
Yeah.
The fathers don't do Omugo, do they?
The fathers don't.
But why not?
I wonder why not.
Because of the duties that are involved with the Omugo thing.
Yes, yes.
And another tradition that we have touched on, quickly in 1 or 2 of the editions here is the twins, the killing of the twins.
Twins, yes.
The female
female genital mutilation. Would that be described as a culture?
Well, it is a tradition. It's part of our culture.
It's part of our culture.
And another one is the issue of subjecting the woman or the wife to loads of unwholesome practices.
Burial.
Yes. Shaving of the head, having her confined to a particular location for a long time.
Yes.
Some people say that she's even asked to sleep with the corpse and drink from the water that, a lot of these things are not substantiated.
Anyhow, we will learn more about these things.
We should.
When we take on our...
And I'm wondering, why is it that 90% of some of these things are against the woman?
Helen.
Food for thought.
Food for thought.
Okay. Okay.
So, our first guest today is Dayo Adeyemi, and he started his professional career as a lecturer in the prestigious Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria. That's in Nigeria. Thereafter, he cut his teeth in total marketing communication, working on the Toyota brand in Nigeria. At Sanderson Ventures, he worked as HR manager in a firm integrating Canadian technology, in a Canadian technology firm. And then he started human resources business and management consulting. And he's moved on to several other things, which so numerous for us to enumerate today. Well, it's noteworthy that he served faithfully in Daystar Christian Center for over 18 years as a senior lay reader, overseeing 35 other leaders in the church cell system.
And
today, he is the founder and CEO of the Catalyst Men Network International, Boys Transformation Global Network, and FIA, that's the Fatherhood in Africa Project, solving the problems of toxic masculinity, gangs, drugs, and violence by challenging men to lead, live, and love better. That's quite a load.
That's quite a load. Please join us to welcome our very first guest, a true Nigerian, one who is proud of his culture and tradition, Dayo Adeyemi. Good morning, Dayo. Hello.
How are you? Good morning. Can you hear me?
Quite an intimidating profile, I must say, Mr. Adeyemi.
Thank you, John.
Thank you. And thank you for being there.
Yeah.
Now, the show is Today with John and Helen. That's very obvious. And it's the final edition of the Culture series. Before we get into the nitty-gritty of the show, here's what's on our mind,
For real.
concerning how we want the program to run.
Yeah.
Now, you're going to give us, 5 obvious cultural practices in Nigeria, and also the significance of each of these practices.
And of course, from your point of view,
Yeah.
because a lot of other people will think that others are on their top 5. But let's have your top 5.
Okay. Okay, viewers worldwide, good morning. Nice to be on John and Helen. Thank you so much. The top 5 for me is number 1, child marriage. I came in from a particular community, family to say in Yoruba, where we do Yawo Sara. Sara means just give the woman. The girl doesn't know anything about it. The father doesn't know anything. They just go and bundle the girl and bundle her away to the husband's house without preparation, without knowing. It's taken to child marriage, but slightly different.
Yeah.
Another thing we do is widowhood. And I'm talking about where I come from, and this is part of what we are challenging in what we do currently. Where you expect the woman to stay indoors for 40 days, she shakes her head, she's supposed to be in money, wearing black, and at the end of it all, 70 to 80% of the death of the husband is hit back on the woman that is because she is a witch. But now we are even challenging that. If a man loses his wife, what stops him also from staying in the house for 40 days? Money, without going out, without any. It doesn't apply to men, it applies to women. Also, female genital mutilation. We understand why boys have to be, circumcised for health reasons. But for women, it's more indecent. It's more to take the sexuality of the girl child. That for me, number 3 is unacceptable.
Yes.
Part of the widow crisis we also have is what Helen mentioned, forcing the woman either to confess, to drink, the water used to bathe, to solve and all of those things, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
And finally, for me, especially in Yoruba land, is this culture, not necessarily bad, but a wasted culture, especially during weddings. The Uwapa is not just about the funeral ceremony, it's about wedding, it's about naming, it's about housewarming, it's about car naming, it's about all sorts. And we have imported this even to church by calling testimony. So these 5 key issues for me are things that we need to look into. But let me stand a note of warning.
Yeah.
Please, no single culture is bad. Modernity, civilization, exposure, new knowledge, media is changing the way we think about some of these issues. No single culture, as long as they are using this, they have their purpose. Let me also tell you, John and Helen, maybe we are doing different there. I used to be myself. I drove myself because I just said, why should I be myself when my name, Dayo, has no cultural meaning to me? I have faith. And we call them Taiwan Kennedy instead of Daniel and David. The reason for me is a cultural shift. I have an understanding that anywhere you mention Tayo or Kennedy, people can identify them. Anywhere that you hear their name, Obafemi and Obafemi, people can identify them. When you hear to me that you are a Yoruba person, you know the meaning of it. So what we are saying is that there is a cultural shift now. Most of the things that we are mentioning is dependent on where it is practiced, either in the rural areas, certainly it's not the obeying Christians again, not in the urban centers, not in the educated people. In all of these things, there is a cultural shift.
Okay.
Before I work my last talk, let me say this. We are also working with the boy child in the secondary school on the perception of the girl child as subordinate, as object.
Okay.
If you go to most of our secondary schools and throw in a question there, it's part of that culture that sees the girl. She not just a job. So that's part of the things we are working on in the Voice Transformation Global Network, and it's a culture shift.
Okay. All right, thank you so much. John is scribbling away. He's taking the whole lecture from.
I was just thinking that if we allow him to go on, he'll give us not 5 but 20.
He's back in classrooms and he's taking so much lecture from what you've said. Last week we actually were concerned about how we can be sure that our culture is sustained, that we don't lose it. And one of the things that we were told by our resource person and our guest last week was that we must begin to entrench, if I can use the word, or begin to speak our languages from the homes. We must begin to impact and be the change or be the culture and the tradition, to our children. Now, I know that the language is very important and plays a huge role in a huge role as a form of respect. If you're talking about culture and tradition, how is this so? Explain more to us about the role that the language plays, in making sure that we pass on our culture and our tradition to the younger generation.
Okay, thank you. Please, there is what we call culturalization. It's actually beyond non-performing economic nation. I'll give you a personal example. My first daughter can hardly speak Yoruba back to you. The record is always English. I need that speak English. But I got to a point, I read a very funny story. Somebody at Heathrow Airport who had tribal marks, Yoruba tribal marks, and I learned that the policeman was about to accost him and wrote that, go, Yoruba, please, leave, follow back, He didn't understand. You see, he was born, go to Nigeria, give me tribal marks, return to the police, in all his 50-something years, he was never taught to Yoruba. That shocked me. How can my daughter be in the UK or the US and he cannot speak his own language? But it's beyond us. What are those things that we need to look at? Number one, our language. Any nation, any people that loses its language has lost its identity. We are gradually losing our identity through the loss of our language. Number two, our name. And I want to assure you that this culturalization is not just by the Western culture, it's also religion. For example, why would I name my child Jerusalem? I keep asking, why can't I name my child? We should be instead of belief. You see, we take pride in those religious names and Islam. I don't have a problem with whoever names that person, that's their choice. But we are saying it doesn't give room for cultural identity and relevance. Part B of that question, because of the time, is this: how can we sustain this? A personal teaching, training, curriculum development in our school, pride in nationhood. We need to get back to the basic and say, sorry, Senaya, what is the root of Senaya? What is your pride as Senaya? How do you relate and bring in the very good in your tribe, in your community, in your culture, in your tradition to bear? One of those good things is this: a Google festival in my place. There is the ritual side, the fetish side. There is also the entertainment side. That can become a global money spinner. Can we turn that to tourism? All these things that we wear when they are doing naming ceremony, what else, the birthday party, all these guys are dancing, they put something big on their head. This is not another form of masquerade. Can we transform our own to become something global? You go to Brazil, all the things they put on their head, it's a cultural thing. We must not discard all of those things. Respect for others. I like to mention that respect, especially in Yoruba land, is not just greeting. It's ability to sustain authority in the family system.
Okay.
So you can't just come in and say, no, how are you?
Okay, Mr.
My father will look at you and say, are you a bastard?
Yeah,
Not because she's abusing you, but because there is authority that has to be maintained. You can't wake up and not greet your mother. It gives you authority. And you discover that
we will come to that, Mr. Mr. Adeyemi. I actually I was reserving a question, on
in that direction.
in that direction.
Yeah.
But because I want to take you to another key practice, cultural practice, which is marriage and the way we conduct it. Marriage would be one of our most interesting traditions, in this part of the world. What are the unique cultural practices within the marriage institutions that you think we should bring out and highlight and sustain?
Well, there are so many beautiful things about our wedding. I don't know about most other culture, not because I'm not read, but I'm immersed in Yoruba culture. There is what we call Idana, whereby Idana is family visit. So even before that time, there is what we call checking, either spiritual or non-spiritual, whereby you try to find out the history of the bride or the groom. Is this person from a home that is broken? Is this person from a home that has insanity? Is this, there was a particular wedding they were having in a particular southwestern Nigeria, and the drummer, they were saying, with the drum, the local drum, they were saying, the standards of these people, they handle women like they should handle women, the talking drum. And then, the father of the bride had the thing, and said, how do they handle women? At the point of introduction, and he cut off the introduction, not yet well. So, what we are saying is that from the point of introduction, it ensures family system. Can I tell you, John and Helen, we don't marry for ourselves, we marry for the family. And I'll tell you why. If you are mentioning Omugo, if my daughter has a problem, the family, if my daughter has a problem in marriage, our primary family is the primary support system. We are going to say, please get out of this toxic marriage, come back. If she has a first baby, we are the first set of people to go and rejoice with them, take care of the baby, reduce the body, even give them money, support system. So when you are marrying a family in this part of the world, you are marrying for the family. It's the culture of Christianity, and I say me and my wife. But even at that, Omugo is proving to be very, very useful for our people because of the work culture abroad. From introduction, you now go in to, where everybody gathers, mommy, man, know me, I know you, you bring a few of the family members, like family get together, and then the traditional marriage ceremony. Now, can we have mass wedding?
I'll take that.
Where people can come from abroad and see our agbada, see our barrier, see our colorfulness, come and see the way we do marriage properly. These are money spending things that we should encourage. It's not everything that is bad. The aspect of wastage has a problem. But there are things that we can even combat. Imagine bringing 1,000 guests from the US to come and lunch in the hotel. And you do about 100 mass weddings. With all the cultural fanfares, with all the drumming, with all the dancing, you can imagine the body that will come in. So our culture is not necessarily bad. It's just that some aspect of it has to be reduced. Marriage culture in that land, honestly, it's one of the most fantastic that we have. It's not for those great people.
Okay, we're still talking about marriage, which is part of the social life of Nigeria. You have to go through the three, types of marriages: courtship, the traditional, the 3 steps before you are really accepted to have been married properly. Now, Nigerian parties is another aspect, that comes with the marriage ceremonies. And it's very unique. It's unique to us, especially the spraying of money and the lavish setups and all of it. It happens to be sometimes has its thrived over the years. Now, regardless of how much the authorities have tried to discourage it, Nigerians seem to love it. Now, how did we get here that marriages, become such a big deal in terms of how much money you spend, how many people are involved? COVID is here now, and we're beginning to limit, but that is still not solving the problem of the fact that a lot of investment, so many family members have to sell investments to be able to give out their sons and their daughters out in marriages. Please share your thought on this with us.
Okay, it's what we call cultural evolution. And it starts when the military took over and too much money became available. But what you actually call investment honestly, it's a good investment. And we're thinking. Hello? You know what is good investment? You are going to pay the person who has the hall. The person is making money. You are allowed the person to do the cooking. You are going to pay. You are going to the market to buy. You are going to buy cows. You are going to buy a turkey. You are going to. You see, all of the money, they go back to the economy. It looks like a wastage, but they are going back to the economy. This is the aspect that we need to look at it. All the strain of the money may not need Western culture. But, John, we can pay you 10,000 naira. You either spend it or take it back to the market. Or save it. So if you send it or take it back to the market, you are still empowering the system. We need to see the economic aspect of it. If you spend 10 million on your daughter's wedding, that 10 million may look like a wastage, but it's actually boosting the economy. How did you get to the culture of space? Honestly, there is no traceable issue. But over time, we want to prove my messages is bigger than yours. We want to prove that I am, richer than you. So we do the most ostentation. The funny part and the sad part of it is this: Helen and John. People who don't have the means, they join the fray. And when they join the fray, a lot of indebtedness, a lot of headaches attack. This is where I have the problem.
This is
honestly, on the economic case, I don't have a problem. If you can afford it, for me, let me share my personal stuff with you and my family.
This is most interesting.
I have 5 million to spend on your wedding, I will spend 50,000.
This is most interesting, sir.
All my copies. No. I don't. Your time is different from my own. The remaining 4,050,000, I will put in an account for you and your husband or your wife to be, so that you don't start a life the hardest way like we started. There is no point asking 1,000 people to come and eat your love rice. And only you use that part. Nigerian jollof rice is the best. I don't know where
thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Adeyemi. Thank you, Mr. Adeyemi. I must say that we have found your perspective. We found it most interesting, and I'm sure the viewers have as well. Now we have to take a quick break now.
All right.
But we want to thank Mr. Dayo Adeyemi for being with us and giving us his rather interesting perspective to the issue of culture. Thanks so much, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Dayo. We wish that we had more time to go deeper into this subject matter with you, but television shows have got deadlines, and the director is asking us to say thank you right about now.
Thank you so much, John and Helen. Hoping to do your program anytime soon.
Thank you so much. Have a lovely day.
You too.
Okay, so we'll take that break now.
We'll
take a break, and when we come back, Today with John and Helen continues on this next segment where we'll be looking at the Africans in diaspora.
The Africans in diaspora, yes.
Oh, that's an interesting one. You don't want to miss it. Please stay with us.